Well, as promised, here's the Bon Jovi interview that I did recently when they were in town. I'd also like to say a big hello to Ruth from Dublin, who I met at the Bon Jovi party. Here's the interview. I hope you like it.
Sure.
So how's the tour going?
Thumbs up. It's going great. Kids are rocking. We're rocking.
Everything's real good.
Having fun.
Business is good. Kids are, it's all sold out, and records doing well.
Couldn't be happy if we were twins.
Kicking arse, as they say.
But you seem to be exhausted.
Exhausted. Exhausted. Because what happened was you know, we always tour for a long, long time, all the time. They had us scheduled to come out a month earlier, and what happened was that it just got backed up too much. We just finished the record, and then there wasn't enough time off between getting the record set up and actually starting the tour, so actually they had us going out almost before our record was released, which was something that was ridiculous. So we had to put a hold on it. So we had a month's worth of dates here in Europe that we had to, and press, that we had to scrunch up. So in other words, we were going to be gone for three and a half months, and we scrunched it into 2.5 months. So now everything is just like stepped up.
Almost less than 2 months.
Yeah, almost less than 2 months. So we had to fit all that into a shorter period of time. So our schedules are quite packed with, you know, interviews and appearances and whatnot.
And after Europe, you're going straight off on another tour, aren't you?
We start our Japanese tour
the morning of Christmas Day.
Yeah, we're playing in New Year's Eve in Tokyo. Actually, a very, very big show.
The Egg Dome, where Tyson fought. 40,000.
The Egg Dome.
Yes, 40,000 people, so that's good. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, we got a couple days there in Tokyo, and we're going to continue touring Japan. Then Hawaii and stuff like that. Then we're going to go to America, and then probably swing back through Europe during the summer, and Australia, and
so when are you going to get time
Spain, and 1992.
92.
92.
I mean, you really are earning your reputation as the hardest working band, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And
James Brown, it's over.
We mean it.
We are the hardest working people in show business.
But then, I mean, you've been writing for other people as well. I mean, how have you done that? How have you fitted that in?
Well, there's an abundance of songs that we've written for this lot of material that made up the New Jersey album. John and I had written 34 songs. And, you know, then all of a sudden, you know, you use yourself up and the well runs dry. And, you know, then all of a sudden you get new ideas. So we're back on I'm back on a very creative train now also. When all this stuff is happening to you at once, you can't help but interpret it some way, you know what I mean? So it's got to come out of you somehow too. I mean, as much knowledge that comes in you and in front of your eyes, it's like this, it's kind of quick, you know? But you got to get something out of it, so it kind of comes through your material. We're very reflective in our writing. The way we write is pretty reflective.
Now, I'm quite interested in the fact that you called the album New Jersey when you've been quoted as saying before that you just wanted to be an American band and didn't want to be known as coming from New Jersey. So what made you change?
No. I think that the reasoning behind that was that most bands, when they get to a stature of being successful and have some kind of, you know, they make some breakthroughs, which I think that we did last year, which, you know, they kind of just came, you know, it just happened, you know, this shit like that just happens, excuse me. But we needed to embrace our audience and bring them closer to us. So while I think a lot of other bands in this business seem to push the people away, we were trying to like say, okay, wait a minute, now we're going to bring everybody a little bit closer, because they made, the kids and the fans, the people who bought our records and showed up at our shows last year, made our lives very happy. And, you know, instead of moving away from them, we wanted to bring them closer. So by calling the album New Jersey, we kind of said, wait a minute, here we're going to let you in on a little bit more of what our personalities are like. You know, because it's just, there's an attitude in New Jersey that happens just as there's an attitude in London, or there's an attitude in Tokyo. If you grew up in Tokyo, if we grew up in Tokyo, we would have called it Bon Jovi Tokyo, or Bon Jovi London, you know what I mean?
It's wherever you're from.
It was kind of just like saying, okay, here we're letting you in a little bit more closer to our lives. And the album was a very reflective record. It reflected what we have learned as a band and what we saw on the road last year for 16 months and the tours before that. And an attitude and almost what the best things were. Like Blood on Blood, it's a story about being friends and how important that was for us to keep together as a band. Stick to Your Guns is a moral story about, you know, sticking to your guns if you believe in something. When everybody told us as a band, you guys will never make it, you all will do nothing, and we said, you know, pure heads, and we're going to do it.
Why do you think you and Jonathan have such a good writing relationship?
Respect, I don't know. I guess that's it, mutual respect. We argue just like, you know, cats and dogs and stuff sometimes, but it's very, you know, it's just a process. The whole thing is a process between, you know, when it comes down to John and I and in the band, and then we argue, you know. It's not even arguing, it's just a debating.
Trying to get the right, there's no right answer.
Right.
There's never a definitive, this is it, this is what it's supposed to be. It's just everybody's viewpoint of what it's supposed to be. And this is a chemistry of 5 people, and what, when you put the needle down on the record, that's what we came up with.
The most important thing, in my opinion, about a band and about an organization like this is being able to separate the business of music and friendship, you know? So you can go and you could sit in the rehearsal studio and, you know, argue with each other and, you know, and argue back and forth and, you know, but then you go out and get drunk together, you know, and just have a good time and say, okay, you leave that over there and make that separation. It's like, you know, if you're like us and we walk off the stage, you know, when you come on stage and you're playing in front of thousands of people, you have to conjure up a bit of an attitude and a bit of a, not an ego is not the right word, but a confidence to, you know, to walk out there and go, well, wait, I do this. This is what I do for a living.
I have reason.
You know, but then when you walk off the stage, if you don't make the separation, then, you know, you get taken in by this, the lights and, you know.
One flew over a cuckoo's nest.
Yeah, then you're a cuckoo.
Do you think you've changed at all over the years?
We've grown.
We've grown up. I'm very clean, you know.
We're very clean now. We've grown a ½ inch.
I like sushi now. I don't know. I've changed in that respect.
Do you feel pressurized that you've got to have each album better than the last, that you've got to keep this going?
Personally, I don't.
Well, it's not like, it's a certain kind of pressure, but not a bad kind of pressure. I think a good comparison is like a prize fighter. We have the title, we have the belt, and every time we walk into the ring with our record, you have to defend it. You know, so you have to prepare, you have to get ready for that fight, you know? I mean, every time you come up with a new thing and you step into the ring, you risk your reputation, and you have to, you know, upstand it, you know, withhold it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that
Uphold it.
any relationship that you have in life or whatever you do, if you put time into it and effort, and it is,
I mean,
and you mean it from the heart, it's valid and it's important. Whether or not it sells 70 million records is, you know, if you're doing it and you mean it, that's what the important thing is. And if you're true to what you do, you know, and you're not out there just making crap up, you know what I mean? And you do, I mean, that's the one thing that people can say about Bon Jovi is, hey man, you may not like us and we might not be the best band you ever heard in the world, but we sure as hell give it our best shot, you know, and we do really mean it, you know what I mean? We live this, man. This is like, this, you know, like we're not off, you know.
This is a story.
That's right. You know, so it's like, that's the one thing. It's like you're getting a real rock and roll band here, you know. I mean, it's not, it has to do with the concert. The concert's the best part of it. It's the life goes around and involved. So involved, it's like really funny.
Why do you think you've been so successful?
The aftershave. I think it's that goes back to just that we mean it so much. You know what I mean? We want to do it when we're on stage or playing on a record or doing anything that has to do with being in public. We're doing that 150%. All of us collectively. So there was no way to go but up because we were just going nuts and continue to.
Were you surprised when the Superior album did so well?
Oh, we were freaked. I mean, we knew it was.
We weren't even in the country.
Yeah, we weren't even around.
What happened?
Well, we were over here touring in Europe when Slippery started happening in America, and then we came back and opened up for 38 Special. We went, whoa, something's going on here, because people were just...
That was like Beatlemania.
Yeah, people were freaking, which was cool.
But when you wrote the album, you must have known it was good.
Yes. It was better. It was the best thing we did, obviously. Because what happened was that I believe that we were... I believe that we were really that good a few years back, but what happened was as in a lot of other businesses, things, you know, kind of get in your way sometimes, whether it be another man's opinion about, say, which is a very important thing, videos, for instance. We made 5 videos in our first 2 records, and we look at them and now we say, what?
What
you
the
know,
hell were we doing?
We were very naive, and we didn't, you know, we go, well, we don't know what it's like to be a cameraman or anything like that. You know, we didn't know what the hell to do. So
We
it was
just
like,
have to learn.
so people are going, okay, wear this and go over there and act like that, and you go, sure. And you look at yourself and you go, wow, this is not what it's supposed to be like. And that happened like 5 times. And also, so it's all of a sudden you're being put out by someone who's not, he's not seeing the real picture, in other words, you know what I'm saying? So the video market, as far as a rock band goes, is a very important thing. So, and here's a director interpreting your song and going, well, I'm going to be Fellini in 3 minutes. It doesn't happen.
Survey says.
And there's a record producer, and that, you know, and I believe that Lance was a good producer and everything like that, or Lance Quinn, but I don't believe that he saw the potential of the band, and instead of, he directed us in different ways where I think Slippery could have happened earlier.
So do you think you've got a lot of control now? A lot more control than...
Well, I think the only reason why we became successful is because we ran out of mistakes. We did them all. We did them all. That's the only way people can tell you, you know, your mom and dad will say that's a hot stove right there, don't touch it. And you're gonna, when they're not looking, you're gonna go, Sah! You gotta touch it yourself. And
Luckily, we worked so hard that we just were racing through those mistakes.
Yep.
You know, I think that's the truth.
That's right. And now we just know by, you know, doing it all wrong, you know how to do it right.
I mean, now that you're so successful, do you ever feel like sitting back a bit and not touring quite so hard and working quite so hard? Because you could do that now.
It wouldn't be any fun. It's not really, touring is the whole thing. I mean, the whole thing of playing in front of people, making records is fun and all that kind of stuff. But the whole reason why that we happened as a band was because we got in front of an audience and rocked their asses off. Whether we were opening up for Judas Priest or the Scorpions, we were singing, "Ooh, She's a Little Runaway," and the Scorpions were singing about another piece of meat. And we still rocked. I mean, that's something we enjoy as a band. You see, there's fury in our eyes when we hit the stage.
That's
there's
true.
Fury.
That's true. We're just like a bar band that grew up, man. You know, that's what it is. We're just a New Jersey bar band. You know, much like, you know,
Why do you think...
any of the bands that come out. You know, you got to go and play the bars first. You know, you got to go and there's that level. You know, those are levels that you go through, and it really comes down to just playing with the right guys and finding the right people that make the commitment. You know?
And then a matter of 260 gigs a year.
Yeah, it's a lot of time you give up, actually, of your life. You know, you just got to, and if 5 people do that together, and they say, well, you know, we're shooting for the same thing, you know, and then you have your management, and they're helping you, and everybody's committed, and then your record company gets committed, and you go out and you say, okay, well, to prove to you why you're working my single is because I'm going to get on the road, and I'm going to be out there for a year and a half. So, and if I don't see you doing your job, you'll probably lose it. So, you know what I mean? So, but I'll be here. You know what I mean? Bon Jovi will be here. We'll be playing if the record sold 3 copies, if it sold 3 million copies, it wouldn't. If it sold 300 million copies, we're still going to play. You know?
That's what we love.
I'll be playing, if I didn't have a record deal, I still would be in some band somewhere doing something, you know? All of us, I think. Because we're just musicians. I mean, there's nothing else I could do. Can you see me doing anything else? As an accountant, maybe, or your lawyer. Imagine me walking into court. Judge.
Which track would you say reflects the Bon Jovi attitude the most on the new album?
Can you say one track, or think it'd be...
Well, Blood on Blood is probably something that went, you know, because I think it's, you know, we have a good comradeship together. Because, you know, it's a special experience what we do. We lead a pretty cool life, you know. It doesn't suck, you know. It's cool. So it's like we're all together having a good time. And, you know, like we just came back from Moscow. We're going to be playing a show there in August for 140,000 people. We're in the process of trying to get our record released there. And, you know, do some pretty historical type things. We're going to be playing in Lenin Stadium, in the Olympic Stadium for the first time. And We did a TV show there for 280 million people the other day and stuff. So I mean, we're doing some stuff. We're trying to, you know, take Bon Jovi and our success and really run its course. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to do this and we're going to be out there working as hard as we're working, we might as well let it, like, really go, you know? And we're going to do it, you know? We're just going to see what happens.
A couple of years ago, you were working towards this success. So now you've achieved it. What are you working towards?
Continued success.
In my opinion, there's always questions in life. There's always questions that happen. There's always questions that come up because every time like you just said, well, now you tried to achieve this success. Okay, well, we got to this point where you sell 14 million records, okay? And you go, cool, what's next? That opens, every answer to every question opens up 1,000 new doors. And thank God. Because the life would be pretty boring if it didn't, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, when you're a kid and you go through first grade, what's next? Second grade, you know what I mean? It's like, so just when you think you've got through it, man, and you just go, wow, man, I got the summer, I take off, and September comes again,
school.
There's a whole new set of questions.
That's right.
Because you've just answered a year's worth. And so Bon Jovi's just answered a year's worth, and now, you know, you find the questions. They just come upon you, so, and I'm sure that whatever we do in the next 2 years, there'll be 10,000 more questions. It just gets more complicated as it goes along, I think, and more intense.